So today I've got 3 easy, healthy dessert recipes that are all quick to make, absolutely delicious, and would be perfect for Valentine's Day. But of course, they can also be enjoyed any time of the year. And keep in mind that each of these recipes I will link for you down in the description box below, should you want to print them out. Now, before we jump in, I want to thank today's sponsor, LMNT. LMNT is a delicious electrolyte company who was specifically created for people who want to enjoy a more whole food, less processed approach to healthy eating. It contains a science-based balance of sodium, magnesium, and potassium that can help you to balance out the electrolyte levels in your body. And I'm going to share more on them in just a bit. But first, let's jump into healthy dessert recipe number 1. And I'm going to show you how to make my chocolate-covered raspberry chia drops, and they are so good. If you like a chocolate covered strawberry, you are going to love this easy recipe. So the first thing I like to do is I just line a quarter sheet pan with some parchment paper, and then I'm going to set that aside. Then I have 6 ounces of raspberry that I rinsed and just dried off a bit, and I'm going to mash these with the back of a fork just to break them down. Now, raspberries are very soft, so this happens very easily, and it should just take you about a minute or so. Once you're done, the raspberries are going to look more like a raspberry jam, like you can see right here. Next, I'll stir in 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. Now, not only are chia seeds high in fiber and rich in healthy fats, but they also are very absorbent. So they're gonna help to thicken this raspberry mixture. So once I have them all stirred in, I just let this sit on the counter for about 5 minutes or so, and you can see how that thickens up the raspberry. It's like a thick raspberry jam. Then 1 tablespoon at a time, I'm just going to drop the raspberry mixture onto the prepared baking sheet. So you have like these little disc-shaped mounds. You'll probably end up somewhere between 8 and 10, depending on how big you make them. Then this tray is going to go into my freezer for 1 hour. Ultimately, we're just looking for these raspberry drops to firm up a bit, okay? Then right before they're ready and right before you take them out of the freezer, you want to prep your chocolate. So you're going to grab 6 ounces of your favorite chocolate bar. I'm using a dark chocolate bar. Give it a nice rough chop, and then transfer that into a microwave-safe bowl along with 1 teaspoon of coconut oil, just a little tiny bit. Then I'm going to pop this in the microwave, let it go for about 30 to 60 seconds. You can work in intervals. All microwaves are different. So you want to go in there for a little bit, maybe give it a stir, pop it back in for 10 or 20 seconds until it's nice and melted and silky like you can see here. Then I'm going to take these little frozen raspberry drops that have set up, and I'm just going to drop each one into the chocolate, and then you can use a spoon or a fork just to make sure that the raspberry drop is fully coated in the chocolate. Let any excess drip off the bottom, and then place it back onto the baking sheet. And then you want to top it, and you don't want to skip this step, with a little pinch of a good flaky sea salt. Perfect. Then you're going to repeat until you work through all of your raspberry drops. And you're going to notice even as you're doing this, they already start to set up. But what I like to do is then pop them back in the freezer for another 30 to 60 minutes, and then they are ready to be enjoyed. Although if you're not enjoying them right away, you could also transfer them to an airtight container and leave them in the freezer for up to 3 months so that when you want to serve them, they are waiting for you. And let me tell you, they are so yummy. They're the perfect balance of sweet, tart, and like rich chocolatey goodness. Healthy dessert idea number 2. This is a rich and decadent avocado chocolate mousse. And don't worry, nobody is ever going to know that there is avocado in their chocolate mousse. So you want to start with 2 perfectly ripe avocados. It is important that the avocados are ripe so that they're nice and soft. And I just like to slice each avocado in half. I remove the pit, and then I just scoop the avocado right into a mini food processor, okay? Once it's in there, you're just going to blend it back and forth until it's broken down. Then I add a half a cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, 1/3 cup of maple syrup, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, totally optional, but I highly recommend finishing this with a half a teaspoon of ground espresso powder, because this is going to help to intensify the chocolate flavor and really bring it to the next level. Blend that all up. You may want to pulse it back and forth. You may have to stop it once or twice just to scrape down the sides. But again, you're just going to keep on blending till you see that there's no more little green bits and it's a thick and rich and chocolatey, just like this. Then to finish this off, I like to add a half a cup of unsweetened almond milk and give it one last blend, because this is going to create a really light, fluffy, silky texture, and it's really just like pure perfection in my humble opinion. And once it's ready to go, you're just going to transfer this into your favorite serving dish. I love topping it with a little bit of fresh whipped cream if you want to make it fancy, maybe some chocolate shavings, and enjoy. Rich, chocolate, decadent deliciousness. My third and final healthy dessert recipe is a vanilla mug cake, and this one is perfect if you just want to do like a single serving, or if there's just two of you and you want something quick and sweet and easy and delicious. But before we jump into that recipe, I'm going to share a bit more from today's sponsor, LMNT. LMNT is my absolute favorite electrolyte company, and definitely a product I lean on to feel energized and hydrated throughout the day. A lot of people don't realize it, but common signs of electrolyte imbalance can include headaches, muscle cramps, sleeplessness, and fatigue. Personally, I just know that I feel better when I am adding LMNT into my day-to-day routine, especially on days when I'm working out. And now that the cold weather is here, LMNT has released their limited time chocolate medley, which is my like cold weather to die for favorite. Each box comes with 10 chocolate raspberry, 10 chocolate mint, and 10 chocolate chai elements. Now, these are intended to be added to hot water. It makes the most delicious hot chocolatey drink with no sugar and no artificial flavors. I'm telling you, it is so good. And I actually think it would be a great gift idea for Valentine's Day should you have anybody in your life who's working on building healthier habits. And right now, LMNT is offering everybody in the Clean and Delicious community a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serving packets for free with any LMNT order. So this is a great way to try out a ton of flavors, and you can get yours at drinklmnt.com/DannySpees. Now remember, you can only get this with my link, which I'm gonna leave for you down in the description box below, but it's drinklmnt.com/DannySpees. Okay, so back to our mug cake. The first thing you want to do is prepare your mug. You want to use an 8-ounce mug or larger. You just don't want to go smaller than 8 ounces, or your cake is going to end up spilling out when it cooks, okay? So you grab your 8-ounce mug, and then you're going to grease this with either a little bit of coconut oil, a little bit of butter, or a little bit of cooking spray. Then, since this is a vanilla mug cake, you can of course use vanilla extract, but to really take it to the next level, I recommend using fresh vanilla. So if you can find it, look for these fresh vanilla pods at your grocery store. They're usually right in the spice aisle with all of the other spices, and you can usually find them sold like just 1 or 2 pods in a container. And all you need to do is slice them in half and then split them straight down the middle, and use the back of your knife just to scrape these little vanilla beans out of the pod. And I am telling you, the flavor of these fresh little vanilla beans is beyond. Now, before adding everything to the mug, I do like to mix it beforehand. I just find it's a little bit neater this way. So into a spouted cup, I'm going to combine a 1/4 cup of finely ground almond flour, 2 tablespoons of a granulated sweetener. Now, if you want to keep this low sugar, you could opt for a monk fruit blend, which I'm using here. Otherwise, you could use any granulated sugar that you like, prefer, or have on hand. 1 teaspoon of coconut oil. Then in go those fresh vanilla beans, just a tiny bit. And if you didn't have the fresh vanilla bean, you could sub a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. It will get the job done. And then I have 1 egg, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, that's gonna help our cake rise, and just a tiny pinch of sea salt. I'll mix this all together, get it whisked really well so you have a nice little cake batter here, and then I transfer it into the prepared mug. Then this is gonna go right into the microwave for about 1 minute. Now keep in mind, microwaves do vary, so you're gonna wanna watch it. You're gonna notice that it rises up while it cooks, and you're gonna know that it's done because it's gonna be set over the top. It's not gonna have any wet spots on it, and when you push on it, it has this little springy kickback, just like this. And I'm telling you, the hardest part is gonna be deciding which of these 3 healthy dessert recipes you wanna try first. And of course, I'm very curious to know, so come on down to the comment section below and do share. Thanks again to LMNT for sponsoring this video, and thank you for watching. I'm Danny Spees, and I will see you back here next time with some more clean and deliciousness. Cheers.